Hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. Welcome to our live video series. Today we are going to go in depth with the 2022 Kia Niro EV, or in Europe they call it the e-niro. And we're going to do that keeping in mind that the EV6 has already been sort of released, about to come out. So we'll talk about what we know, what we don't know. And we're going to go, spend about a half an hour going into the details of this car. And if that's too much for you, grab yourself a beverage, grab yourself a snack. We're gonna go more in depth than any other video out there. If you just tuned in for that content and you're not live with us, you can skip ahead to the 3-minute mark of this video. That'll be where we start with the content. In the meantime, we're gonna let our live audience build, and I'm gonna show you how to join us if that's what you wanna do. All right, let's jump in here really quickly. We are on the wrong page there, so let's go over here. If you wanna join us live, this is what our channel looks like. If you go there exactly at 2 o'clock like I am right now and refresh your page, you will see that this homepage kind of changes around and the live video is right there. So there's that live video. We're going to click in. We're going to watch an ad for apparently another automotive group on my channel. Give me 1 second to skip that ad right now. If you are in Ontario, this is my ad that I'm going to run, and you want to buy a car, buy it from us. You can connect with me through our through a link in the description at the bottom of this page as soon as I'm done, and you can take, oh boy, I'm struggling here. You can connect with me through the link, and I will connect you up with our team. And just so you know, here's the ad they want me to run. Our service teams for all 3 dealers that are involved with us, Owen Sound Hyundai, Brantford Hyundai, and Brantford Kia, we all do a valet pickup. So what that means is if you have your car in for service, we'll come pick it up from your house or your business, and we'll take it back to our dealership and return it at the end of the day. So that's just one example of how we go above and beyond. The other example of how we go above and beyond, these videos. All right, so there's my ad. Pretty good, eh? I'm getting better. No, I'm not. Ads are not my strong point. Hello from Virginia, and somebody says, looks exciting. So if you're in a comment, or if you're a regular with us, feel free to hit the like button. If you're not a regular with us, I'm gonna try to earn that as we go. A lot of questions are coming in about the EV6, and the short answer is, I have a lot of the same information that you have. I'm finding stuff online. I'm seeing what our customers have been emailed if they've ordered the vehicle. I don't have anything official from Kia, which is an odd position to be in as a dealer. They do have some dealer meetings coming up. I'm sure there'll be more information released there. And as I get information, of course, I'll do a video. So feel free if you're interested in any EV from Kia Hyundai, whether it's the Ioniq 5, EV6, those kinds of things, subscribe to this channel because we're gonna be covering them in detail. We've kind of talked heavy Kia EVs lately. But keep in mind, there's also that Ioniq 5, which will actually be our first new EV showing up. So we'll cover that, of course, in detail here as well. About less than a month from now, we'll be covering it at the LA Auto Show. So we'll cover some of those details there as well. All right, once again, if you're regular with us, hit the like button for me now. If you're not, I'll try to earn it throughout the whole video. And we'll set a goal about halfway through of how many we think we should reach. Meantime, we hit the 3-minute mark, so let's get going. All right, making sure I have the key here. A couple things that I didn't do yet. I'm gonna have to turn that Apple TV on so I can see your comments across there. It might just stay as scenery. Here we go. We're gonna dig into this Kia Niro EV. Somebody just asked, when is the EV6 coming out? If you are in Canada, there was an opportunity to buy the first 200 just the other week or just the other day, and we tried to do that. Many of you tried to do that. Some of you got it. So the first ones we'll see here in person that can be delivered is in spring. In the meantime, we have this. And of course, we'll be covering that car in detail. So just want to make sure I covered that. And again, if you're interested in EVs, subscribe to the channel. All right, really into the details now. Kia Niro 2022 model. We've covered the 2021. This is essentially a carryover model. This is the SX model. And to be very honest, I don't believe that I have pricing yet. Assume that it's right in line with last year because the page that I just printed out, it may be out of date. It was on my computer, saved to my computer, and I didn't have time to check before I came live, so I apologize. I assumed it was beyond the website. The 2022 Niro is not on the website yet, so we're gonna go through that car in detail, basically because one of our salespeople started and said, hey, you haven't done the 2022 yet. I've got customers asking about it. Can you go through? And that's what we're gonna do. First thing we're gonna show you is something new. Remote start is on the Key Fob. Now, how does remote start work on an electric car? First of all, you have UVO Intelligence, which is about to turn into Kia Connect. UVO Intelligence is a cell phone app, which is far more useful than just this for getting a lot of details about remote starting this car. So we're going to explain what this is in 2 seconds, but UVO Intelligence allows you to remote start the car, essentially turn on the climate system anyways, but you can monitor things like charge times, you can set the charge to start, so you can come home, plug it in, and maybe you have it scheduled to only start charging when the electricity rates get cheaper in the evening, but then you're sitting on your couch going, oh, I want it to start charging now because I got to go out earlier. So you can do that from your cell phone. You can see your state of charge. You can do all kinds of things from that app, including remote starting there. So now, when you remote start the vehicle, To the best of my knowledge, the UVO Intelligence, let me just show you the sheet here. Let me just flip over. Wow, these pages are fresh out the printer. All right, in the past, when you did that UVO Intelligence remote start, you could do the temperature, front defrost, heated steering wheel, back and side defrost. You couldn't do on this car the heated seats, and that appears to be unchanged in this model. So it's kind of a weird thing. Your heated seats don't turn on, but the whole cabin does warm up. Of course, those heated seats do warm up very, very quickly, but that seems to be unchanged. What has changed is you can do it from here. So how do we do that? We hit the lock button, and then we hold down this button right here, and you can see the lights blink, and now it has been essentially remote started, which is, again, remote climate. Now, I don't know if you can hear this here, but try to come in here. Maybe you can hear that a little bit. The fans are clicking pretty good in there, so it does make some noise. Now, the difference between starting it with a key fob versus your phone is that on the key fob, it's just going to leave the climate settings where they were. If it's on your phone, you can do a whole bunch of different things. On my personal Kia EV, which is actually right behind us right there, that's my personal Kia Soul EV, I can do things like set the climate to what I want. And I can even do things like set presets. So I have a preset for starting the car indoors in the winter, so I don't have to do the defrost of the windshield, that kind of thing. Starting the doors outdoor in the winter, starting the vehicle in the summer. All those are presets to adjust the temperature. So there is that, but there's also the key fob here, which can at least remote start it if you just want to use that. All right, let's dive into this car. Before we do that, actually, you know what? Let's just go in the car as if we normally would. It's a proximity key fob. You can see as I approach here, those mirrors come out automatically. All I did was approach the car with the keys in my pocket. We're going to do a double tap here. Tap, tap. And that's going to unlock all 4 doors. You can set it up to do a single tap to do 1 door. All right, I've had some people give me a hard time say, dirty cars, that really reflects poorly on the dealership. And I would say, I don't have a detailing team, guys. I do these videos. Nobody else does these videos like this. So while I should be cleaning cars, if the choice is cleaning a car or getting it on video, I get it on video. So be with me, bear with me for a little bit. Car's not perfectly clean, but that's okay. These are real world, honest reviews of these cars. As we jump in here, the vehicle stays on, right? So I can hit the brake pedal now, it stays on. So a lot of times we used to have some of the vehicles turn off when we use them. This person has this rather high, I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit. So a lot of time you hit the brake pedal, it turns on, but yeah, this is staying on, it works as normal. Now let's take a look at overall range of this car and talk about range, because people seem to want to talk about range. This is a front wheel drive car. The EV6 will be rear wheel drive / all wheel drive, so it's a different platform completely. 418 kilometers is what it's predicting right now, and you can see, if you look closely, it's not actually fully charged. So let's just take a look at what that means. This car is rated for 385 kilometers of range. It consistently, 3 months of the year, will exceed that. Now, don't quote me on it. It does depend on the way you drive, everything else. But I would say I haven't seen a single Niro customer that's bought from here that does not get at least 3 seasons of the year, far more than 300. 425 to 485 seems to be common. People are going over 500 in this car fairly regularly. So you're going to see that kind of mileage depending on how you drive. Now, 2022, we've got new modes in here, but we're going to skip past some of these things. We're going to go right to the EV mode and keep talking about range for a second. So there's lots of things. You can see 90% is roughly where the range is at right now. Charging stations, all kinds of stuff in here. We're going to tap this because a lot of people don't know you can do this. If this car was full right now, 466 kilometers of range. Now, ignore charge times near the top. It's going to take 1 hour and 10 minutes at a level 2 charger to go that last 10%. And I want you to think of filling an EV the same way you would pour a glass of milk. You can pour the bottom half of the glass of milk quickly. You can pour it up to 80%, sort of at full speed. But once you get near that top bit of the cup, you're going to slow down your pour, so it just kind of comes up slowly. Electric vehicles charge the exact same way. They can fill up fairly quickly to that 80% mark, and then they go a little slower from there. So you're always going to hear electric car makers, at this point anyways, talk about 0 to 80% in X amount of time. And that's the level 3 charging, the fastest charging possible. But the same thing happens with the level 2 and level 1 charges. They do slow down for that last little bit of charge. So again, don't take 10% and go out. It's 1 hour for 10%, so that's going to be longer. This charge time is about 9 hours or so from empty, but these things can vary a little bit for all sorts of things. Now, one thing that I was driving with our shuttle driver this morning, and we had somebody forgot to plug in our car. So we left this morning with about 70 kilometers of range, and he clearly needed more than that. So he was getting a little concerned about this range thing. And he says, well, how much powertrain does this car use if I turn the climate system off? How much battery am I using if I'm sitting in traffic, for instance? Well, I said, let's show you. Here is a nice little screen. This here tells you how many kilowatts your power is using. So what happens is it'll tell you how many up, and then when it says minus, it tells you what's regenerating in. If I turn the climate system on, let's do that right now. You're going to see our climate screen jump in here. So there's a climate screen off to the right, and it's going to jump in over here. So 0.19, 0.23, 0.27 as it's getting up to speed. So there we go. So now we're using 0.31 kilowatts for our climate system alone. And you can see the electronics are drawing 0.73, 0.81. So that's what's going on. Now we turn the climate system off again, and you'll see that climate system go to 0, which it did. And the electronics can sometimes go faster and slower as well. So the electronics tell you what they're drawing. That's really your only draw sitting still. There's a battery care. Sometimes you'll see that using some. And then this becomes a bar graph from ignition on until now, from when we started driving essentially till now. So the drivetrain color will be blue. The purple there, different kinds of purples here. Like they're all purple here, but that'll be a more blue. So there's no blue on here because we haven't driven at all since we be nerdy and pay attention to how much power you're using if you were ever low. I can tell you right now, it's pretty hard to run low anywhere in any kind of near urban center. On these cars, you can find fast charging just about anywhere. I bought my car 2 years ago and it was a concern then. It's just never been a real concern. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, sure, there might be less charging stations, certainly less level 3 chargers. But anywhere, interstates USA, my parents go to Florida in this exact vehicle, the 2019 model. They go to Florida and back in this car. So you can travel just about anywhere you want. And again, with 400 plus kilometers of real world range, you can leave your house, drive for 3.5, 4 hours at highway speeds before you make your first stop, charge for an hour and a half, stop for lunch, drive for another 3 hours, stop for a little dinner maybe, snack, whatever you want, charge up again, drive for another 3 hours. So you can put 1,000 kilometers in a day in this car without too much difficulty if you like to drive 1,000 kilometers a day, which is a lot. But you can do that. Stop at the hotel overnight, charge again at a level 2 charger, and keep going. So it's not as convenient as gas, but it's pretty non-limiting. And I will say that other than a road trip, an EV is far more convenient than gas. You come home at night, you don't have to plug in the car every night. Most of us don't. When you do, you simply park in, pop the door, click it in, and you go. We'll show you how to do that a little later as well. So overall, one other thing I like about the whole uniqueness of this car is instead of these paddle shifters, these are regenerative brake paddles. So when you drive an electric vehicle, as you let off the gas pedal, which we call the throttle because it's not connected to gas, I'm just going to make sure I'm in park here. As you let off the gas pedal, the car will slow down. And you can set that to, on this car, just coasting, or you can set it to a fairly aggressive level of slowing down. When it slows down like that, if the car would be braking, essentially, if it's applying some sort of braking, the brake lights come on, so you don't have to worry about that. But most of the time, it doesn't use the wheel brakes, the in-wheel brakes, like a regular gas car. It uses that electric motor. It sends the current the opposite way. So instead of the battery going to the motor, going to the wheels, it sends the wheels to the motor to the battery. So it just works like a generator. If you've ever had one of those wind-up flashlights, my kids have one of those. It works the exact same way. There's a little resistance in there. Why not use that resistance to slow down the car? Works very well. So these paddle shifters are pretty cool because they can increase and decrease that on the fly. And if you've never driven a Kia EV, you'll find that a lot of people really like to use these every now and then to modify it. You also have the ability to change your drive modes, which will also change your regeneration, and you can customize those. So if you want, for me, sport mode comes from the factory with no regenerative braking. It does a lot of coasting or very little. I like it with a lot of regenerative braking, hard on the throttle, hard on the brakes when I release the throttle, and that's what it does. If none of this is making any sense to you, it's okay. Just stay tuned. We're going to explain things in a slower, more easier way. And feel free to subscribe and ask questions. If it doesn't make sense to you, just say, hey, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you make it clear? And I will. That's what I want to do. That's what my job is. All right, coming through here. A lot of information screens, again, for the nerdy people, but if you're not a nerdy person, you have a lot of normal information screens. That's essentially your fuel mileage screen, which, again, doesn't matter if you don't understand it. A little normal stuff in here. Let's just move over here. There's navigation information. You have factory navigation. You can see your navigation directions up here in the main screen if you wanted to. You can also do things like lane keeping assist in this car, which also will be showing you. Can you come to a full stop using the left paddle? Absolutely. If you hold the left paddle, it will bring you to a full and complete stop. Now, just so you know, when you do that, this is a good question that was asked just on our live video feed. When you hold this left side paddle down and you come to a complete stop, as you're holding it, once the car has stopped, your brake light will turn off. So then you want to touch the brake pedal if you want to notify people. As you're braking and slowing down, brake light is on. But even if you're holding that paddle, if you're not decelerating, if you're just stopped, that brake light will turn off. So just something to know. But yeah, in the dash here, I was just getting to the tire pressure monitors. Every single wheel will be shown. So it shows the exact PSI of the wheel, or if you're a kilopascal kind of person, a bar person, it'll show you those as well. I want to talk really briefly about some of the driving aids. So previous Kia Niro EVs had lane keeping assist with an active lane keeping assist. A lot of people felt like that keeps you centered in the lane, and it kind of does. This is an upgraded system on this car, and it has lane follow assist. Whoa, that's a little close. Lane follow assist is that button right there. What lane follow assist does is it is a lot more precise, works at different speeds. Lane keeping assist only works above 60 kilometers an hour, but lane follow assist will see the lane markers and keep you centered in the lane a lot more precisely. And you can turn that on and off right there from your thumb on the steering wheel. So it's a very good system. If you've driven the 2019, 2020 Kia Niro, it didn't have that. It does now. And the SX models in those 2019, 2020s also didn't have this large 3/4, 10.25 inch screens upgrade that we have in these newer models. So coming back over here, you get this new kind of design. Some people like it, some people don't. Hey, there's my lights turning off again. We'll turn them on in a second. Some people like this, some people don't. What I like modes. If you are a nerdy person like myself, you can set yourself up as driver 1 or driver 2, whatever, and you can set someone else up as the other driver. So we're going to leave it on the guest mode right now. But what that means is, let me just get out and turn on my light over here. What that means is, if you want to set this car up with all the safety features, super active, you can do that. But if you want maybe someone who shares the car to maybe not have the same level of activity, maybe some of the warnings for safety systems you want to go earlier and someone else wants them to go later, think of it like sharing a cell phone. It would be very weird for you to share a cell phone with someone you love. They probably use their phone to do 20 things. You use your phone to do 20 things, but they may not be the same 20 things. So now you have the ability to switch the driver modes here, which customizes a lot of the safety features in this car, a lot of the features in this car, and makes it your own. Not just radio presets and other things, but a lot of the features in this car, which makes it your own. So speaking of sharing this car, at this point, this is our only EV with memory seats. The Kia Soul EV does not have memory seats, so you gain this on the Niro. On the Soul top line trim, you have a lot of same stuff, but on the Soul top line, you have a little heads-up display screen. You don't get that here in the Niro. So a little bit of give, a little bit of take in there, depending on what you want to do. It's here in a second, guys, so just bear with me. We'll come down through here. Valet mode is intelligence mode, HD radio data. I like showing this because a lot of people don't show this. You have Doppler radar, which today. So Doppler radar right there in your own car, which is kind of cool to have. And oh, traffic. This is pretty fun too, because it shows you all sorts of traffic stuff. What you don't have on this one is, you'll see, even if I go full screen, you don't have gas price. 3 options here, and they normally list gas prices. Now you're saying, do I have client or what do you call it? Charge station information? And you absolutely do. So charging stations, you can see the very first one is right there. Let's just go into that for a second. So you can see this is a circle of, essentially, if everything was flat and level and you used all your range and it was a straight road, this is how far you could go. It's not a super helpful screen, but charge stations will show up in your navigation list if you wanted to go there, which we can just show you right here. Go to the navigation and go to, I don't know where to go to. Let's go points of interest, EV charge stations right there. So gas stations, if you wanted to go there just to get something from the gas station, but EV charging stations, which aren't always located with, you know, a convenience store. You can see the closest ones here. So we've got one nearby, a flow charger, another charger. So this is really good. What I do recommend in our cars is you download on your cell phone an app. I have, I think, about 4 apps that I run through. Many of them work, or some of them work with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, so you can also put that across on the big screen. What I like about those apps is, in my mind, I trust them a little bit more. Sometimes they're a little bit more up to date. These are all pretty good. You have pretty up to date stuff. The future Kia Connect system, this is Kia Evo Intelligence, but the Kia Connect system is really going to be good about giving those over the air updates. This doesn't have over the air updates, so you would have to update it yourself like you would of the old GPSs in the past, but they are no charge updates, so that's good to remember as well. All right, so lots of information there. I don't know if I'm helping you guys out at all or not. Down here is typical climate control system, driver only mode. Let's turn the climate system back on here. So with the climate system on, pumping away right now, 400. Now let's go back. That could add up. Let's change it to the driver only mode. Oh my goodness. The cost of freezing out or warming up our passengers by not giving them any climate control, the savings is 1 kilometer. If you are driving a hybrid, driver only mode might make sense for you. It can keep the gasoline engine from coming on. If you are driving an electric vehicle, don't use the driver only mode. unless you're actually alone in the car. Some people use it and the passenger gets cold or hot because they're not having the air vents on them. It doesn't save you enough to really justify, but if you wanted to have climate just on you and not on your passengers, it can save you a tiny bit of range. I think I've seen the highest jump is about 2. And the other thing is when I watch what happens when I adjust the fan speed here. I'm going to crank the fan speed. So there's our range right there, 406. Crank the fan speed. Oh, 396. Turn the fan speed right down. Oh, 408. So you can see fan speed, in addition to heat, will basically adjust your actual range. Now, so what I want you to do when you're in an EV is I want you to, as much as possible, use the auto setting. It's going to blast the fan speed early when you get in the car, and then it'll back down that fan speed as soon as you reach temperature. The reason that's good is because you might see yourself lose those 10 kilometers of range, and then once the car's warmed up, it'll give you 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 of those right back. So just keep in mind that that's a good way to do things there. Coming down here, speaking of staying warm, rump roasters here, heated steering wheel over here, and if you wanted to give the passenger some ventilated seats, you have those as well. So ventilated and heated front seats, heated rear seat bottoms, and the heated steering wheel. These are your parking sensors. Let's just show you how they work for a second. Let's just turn the seats off. Oops. Oh, did that work? Hold on, I'm going to hold that down. There we go. We're going to hold this one down, and there we go. That's off. Turn the heated steering wheel off. Let's show you when I throw it in reverse here. This 10.25 inch screen is not designed to go full screen in our backup cameras. That's the same with all of them, but you do have these parking sensors here, which can make it really helpful. So we're going to back up a little bit, try not to hit that door. I shouldn't be driving with a camera in my hand, but here we go. I think we can go a little closer. There we go. You can see it's starting to register. Hey, you're pretty close there. So it just gives you a sense of what is going on around the vehicle when you're driving. So you do have, in addition to being able to see everything here, you will have beeping and visual warnings of where some of those things are. So that works pretty well. And down here, we were talking about the Sportage the other day, and they talked about the cup holders. These ones have not been cleaned out. This is super helpful. I didn't know this was in here. But the cup holders, you can see, the new Sportage, they advertise this as, hey, you only want cup holders when you need them. And they were talking like this is a new thing, but it's been in the Niro for a while, the Niro EV. If you want to put, like, they put a tablet in here. It's a big open space. When you don't need cup holders, you push these down and you have cup holders when you do need them. So there is kind of a unique cup holder situation in there, and I think it works well. We're going to take a pause right now and go to your questions. We've got 40 likes so far, 63 people on. Let's see if we can go right up for 65 likes. That's 25 more, 65 people on right now. If you all hit the like button right now, you can watch the YouTube algorithm work itself out by... a whole bunch of people will join us if we all hit the like button. And then, of course, we have a sunroof here. Why don't we just open it up for you really quickly? Again, yesterday we looked at the panoramic sunroof of the Tucson, which only opens some ways. This opens basically full. You can go, so it has a, we'll just do that one more time. So we open it fully like this, and you're going to see it'll stop. It stops for that reason, for aerodynamic reasons, but you can, if you really want and you're driving slower, put it all the way back like that. So again, you can get the same type of opening in this smaller roof as you have in some of our panoramic roofs there, and it makes my bald head shine nicely. So we'll look at that. Somebody says, is this all-wheel drive? The Niro is not. The EV6 will be our first all-wheel drive from Kia. So that's what you would get if you were looking at an all-wheel drive vehicle from them. We'll turn this vehicle off. We're going to take your questions right now. Feel free to hit the like button, guys, and we'll see. And sorry, later joiner, does it come with a heat pump? Good question. Some do. The lower level, the very lowest level does not. So let's talk about that heat pump really quickly. Heat pump, basically, we talked about regenerative braking. When you're braking especially, there's some heat created there. The heat pump works kind of like a canister, holds that heat from regenerative braking and pumps it through to the cabin when you need to use the heat. My argument is it doesn't, in my experience, I don't think it's going to add as much range as a lot of our viewers think it's going to add. The heat pump is not something that is super crucial. To create heat in this car, it is going to use some of that, but it's also going to use electric heater. My car behind me, which is this one right here, does not have the heat pump. But again, it's only recapturing that regenerative heat, it's recapturing some of that powertrain heat and sending it into the cabin. So if I'm driving down the highway, or even just a country road or city road, I'm not braking a ton, there's not a ton of heat for it to give anyway. So more important than the heat pump, you want to have the battery heating, battery cooling technology that both these cars have, whether they have the heat pump or not. And this one does have the heat pump. It also has the battery cooling technology, battery temperature management technology that is sort of an upgraded system. That's what is really key to preserving range on this car. In my opinion, more so than the heat pump. I think some people who I've talked to have a really skewed sense of how much that heat pump is going to save them in range. And I'm not saying you people do here today, but some of the people I've talked to seem to have a really skewed version of how much that's going to save them. And it probably does save some, but I don't think it's that much. Is it liquid battery, liquid or air cooled? Liquid cooled, definitely liquid cooled, not air cooled on this one. So good question there. All right, going to take some of your questions here. Let me just set this down here so I can type, so I can use my fingers. We'll go this way so you don't have to look at the big bright screen. Instead, you can look at my nice fancy hairstyle that I've been working my whole life on for you. All right. In heavy traffic, bumper to bumper, very slow traffic, the auto cruise control works very well. Yes, we didn't talk about the adaptive cruise control. So it can see the vehicles in front of you and adapt itself. So if you're going 100 kilometers an hour, someone cuts out in front of you, it's going to allow it just back off. And if they're only going 90, you're going to keep your distance. When they clear or when you signal to go past them, it'll allow you to speed up and go past them. A lot of people use that on the highway. Where I like using it, we've talked about it a lot on this channel, I really like using this smart cruise control in stop and go traffic as well. But because it can see the vehicle in front of you and the dash will show you when you buy the car, I can explain to you how the dash shows you the car in front of you. So you'll know it's active, you know it's going to brake and accelerate for you. And I use it in traffic all the time, and it saves me from braking and accelerating on my own. And on the EVs in particular, it's incredibly smooth. It's very, very smooth. So that's very good. Somebody asked if I could pop the hood. I will do that in this video. The newer Niro EVs to switch the new... So, better question. The new platform that the Kia EV6 is on is called the eGMP platform. And somebody said, will the newer ones come on the newer platform? And the short answer is, I don't know. How long to recharge? We can show you that, actually. Oh, no, we can't show you because it's fully charged. I believe it's around 9 hours-ish from empty on the level 2 charger. You are going to want to get a level 2 charger installed in your house. Now, I say that being the guy who did not get the level 2 charger, and I just plug into the regular wall outlet the same way you plug in the toaster. And I've been able to go for 2+ years on my car. To be fair, I don't drive a ton. I live fairly close to work. My wife is not that far from work. But you can get by on that level 1 charger. Don't discount it. But I recommend anybody buying one of these to buy a level 2 charger as well. All right, saw a few more questions there. Why don't we come back to them in a second? A couple things I want to show you. We'll open the hood because you guys asked for it, and then I want to go rear seat and trunk space because there's a couple things in there that I want to show you that you probably haven't seen in other videos. So we'll do that. First thing we'll do is pop the hood. One of the questions that will come up, if it doesn't come up while we're live, and bear with me guys, I need to use 2 hands here, the Kia Soul, for whatever reason, has the struts that hold it up. All right. Somebody let me know in the comments if we're back. Sounds like we had a little bit of an internet issue, so I've jumped onto my private network. Somebody just let me know that we're back, and I'll keep going here. I'm going to assume that we are. Sorry about that. We lost a bunch of viewers there as well. Okay, there we go. We're back. Perfect. So in here, a lot of people are surprised to see a 12-volt battery. The 12-volt battery is something that works a lot of the electronics, so you save the rest of it for everything else. Now, I just want to address one thing. Some of you have said, oh, it doesn't have a frunk, so you've bought an aftermarket replacement for this and it holds stuff. There's been good reviews from our customers on that, or not even our customers, I should say, some people online. People always ask me if I recommend that. I can't recommend that. I don't recommend that personally. I'm not saying that people that have it are wrong, but you got to understand my position with the badge on here. It's not something I totally recommend because this front end of the vehicle was not designed to carry anything. I don't trust people is the short answer. And if something comes out of that, if there's something that I can't predict that could go wrong, I would not use this for cargo. You have quite a bit. And you don't gain enough for me to worry. But I will say that this is very low in the car. The plastic panel actually sets it a lot higher than it actually is. So you see a lot of things very low in the car. You can see the Niro when you have the regular hybrid version, the gasoline engine sits higher. So overall weight distribution is very good in this car with that. But there's your under hood view there that you guys have asked for. I'm going to use some poor handiwork again to shut this because we're going to take a look at the headlights in a second. And I want to have the hood closed just so you get the sense of everything. While we're shutting this hood here, I forgot the color here. It's the new gray, interstellar gray or intergalactic gray or something like that. It is a really cool color in person with a lot of metallic. These lights that we're under right now kind of kill that down. Charging, let's just quickly show you that while we're here. Pop that open, pop this open, and you plug in the plug, no problem. Anybody can do that. If you've plugged in a toaster, you can plug in an electric car. So very simple. We'll show you that a little bit later if you want. let's just show you rear seat and trunk space. I know we're kind of reaching that 30-minute mark. We don't try not to go over that, but just give us a couple more minutes here, and then we'll go back to your questions. And if we go longer, that's because we're answering your questions. Back seat. If you've ever sat in a regular gasoline hybrid Niro, hey, we do have a price. There we go. Pricing's right there. $54,990 or $695 right now for this car. Keep in mind, in Canada, you get the $5,000 government discount. Certain provinces have even more than that. If you sat in the hybrid Niro and you said, oh, footroom is good there, it's not as good in the Niro EV. It's perfectly fine, but just don't use the regular one. We've had salespeople say, oh yeah, it's the same as the regular Niro. It's not. So right down here, I want to show you the floor is a little raised. We're going to jump in here. It's very easy for me to get in. There we go. So flipping this around here, you can see headroom is fine. Legroom, again, just not a problem for me, but my legs are a little bit higher. They're a little bit off the seat more than they would be in the regular Niro gasoline. Totally fine back here. There is more space back here than the Kia or the Hyundai Kona. A lot of people compare the Kona to this. They have the shared powertrain, so it's a logical comparison. If you need rear seat space, the Niro is the more larger rear seat space, and same thing with the trunk, larger than the Kia Soul. Kia Soul probably has the best rear seat out of those three, the Kona, the Niro, and the Soul EV, but this one probably has the best trunk. So there we go, just to clarify that for you. Pretty good legroom. This seat, when I turned the car off, came back. It's set to sort of a comfort access thing. So I'm 6 feet tall. This is probably set up for a 6'4" person, and you can see I still have a lot of room back here with knee room and everything else. And you can set that seat to not come back. So plenty of room here. While we're here as well, just take a quick look at a couple of come on, there we go. Camera doesn't like me right now. There we go. You can see the pocket right here, pocket on the driver's side as well, 2 vents, the proper 115 volt plug down there. And the big thing I want to show you is the, whoops, can we get there? Sorry about the camera work there. That is the heated seats for the rear seats. So 2 levels of seat heating for the seat bottoms. I will say that the previous generations, they had the sort of teal piping here, and sometimes the perforations had the teal color in there as well. That teal color is gone, and the perforations are not colored this time. And again, we showed you the new logo on the front, new logo on the back. A lot of people really like the new logo on the back here. They think it really modernizes this car. Again, sorry about the dirtiness of this car. And down here you've got, this is the cargo blind. Now, one thing I want to point out with this cargo blind, it can be taken out of there in seconds. I need 2 hands to do it. And it can be thrown right underneath here. And you can see the notches in there. It goes underneath there, and it also slides underneath there. And you can store it underneath your floor here. So that's kind of a nice design. It does not do that in the PHEV. It does do it in the regular hybrid Niro and the electric Niro here. You can see the Harman Kardon stereo system has the extra speaker back here. So that's pretty good. We'll get our teddy bear really quickly here. Teddy bear is our trunk measurement tool. We put him in the trunk, and you can see here, again, he's a little pudgy in the middle there. And it still fits him underneath the cargo blind here. If I go like that, you can still see Teddy. He's not popping up there, but he's kind of a perfect fit in there. So the Soul has a little bit less floor space than this, but the Soul is deeper than this, the Soul EV. So a little deeper, a little less, so when you sit there and just compare trunk sizes between vehicles and they give you the liters or the cubic feet, I like the teddy bear test because you could have the same liters but have it pack a totally different way. So Teddy needs to go on a diet. You guys are harsh. I like Teddy. I think Teddy looks just fine the way he is. I think we need to accept Teddy for who Teddy is. And let's just go back. Yeah, so we just got to accept Teddy for who he is. I don't think he needs to change at all for us. I think he does a good job. I think we just need to be cool with Teddy. So that's my thoughts. All right, so there's your trunk, guys. We're going to go back, answer your questions, and we will turn on lighting if you want to see that, but we are a little over time, so I want to make sure I get to your questions first. We got 78 people on. We were going for 65 likes today. Some people thought that was a little bit much. We got 77 people on right now. Those of you who haven't hit the like button yet, if you all hit the like button, we'll actually blow past 100. We'll have 400 or 500 people on during this video at some point. So feel free to give that a try. See if we can get 65 likes. What that does is not only helps me, of course, everybody says that, it also helps share the video with like-minded people like you. The more likes these videos get, the more I see that you guys want to know more about them, and we'll make more for you. Okay, somebody just said, Teddy, you're perfect the way you are. There we go. Now we're back on the Teddy thing. Somebody says, if the regen is significant enough, the brake lights will illuminate. That's correct. Basically, if you're operating regenerative braking, so when you hit the brake pedal, regenerative braking kicks in anyways. And then if it needs the wheel brakes, it'll use them. if you just use the paddles, the wheel brakes cannot be operated. But if you brake at all, in other words, if the car is decelerating as if brakes were applied or some level of braking is applied, rear lights will turn on. So there is that. All right, let me go down here. Teddy needs a jersey that says quarterback or something. I don't know. I kind of like Teddy Alfresco birthday suit. He does well. He's got a bow tie on. I don't know if anybody noticed that. Okay, hello from Germany. Hello. What's under the foam in the trunk? A whole lot of nothing, I think. I think it's just the foam to hold stuff in place. There is no way to get any deeper in there. Somebody says, enjoy the channel, keep up the good work. I appreciate that. I have a lot of people that tell me I don't do very good work, so it's nice to hear that I do every now and then, or at least that some people are appreciating it. How do you rate like the Niro EV compared to the Soul EV and why? Tough question. That might be where I have to finish up here because we're getting longer in the video. I bought a Kia Soul EV. Now, I bought it because the Soul is cheaper, and the way I bought my Soul is it's cheaper again, but I have significantly less range. My car's rated for 248 kilometers. I'm getting 300-ish kilometers 3 seasons of the year. This one's rated for 348 kilometers, and as you can see, 425 to 485 is pretty common for our people. So the Soul is pretty cool if you don't need a ton of range, and everybody's like, oh, I need a ton of range. But we use that Soul for 90% of our family trips. I won't say 90% of our kilometers because we use our gasoline vehicle to do a lot of kilometers on vacation and other stuff. But 90% of our regular everyday driving, actually probably 100% of our regular everyday driving can be done in that car and is done in that car. We very rarely charge outside of our house, like very, very rarely charge outside of our house. So why is the Soul better than the Niro? Why is the Niro better than the Soul? The Niro's a little bit more expensive. It just is. You're not getting a whole lot more, but you're getting something more. My parents have bought this car. They absolutely love it. I don't think they like the Soul as much. Here's why I like the Soul better. Soul has more rear seat space. Headroom, it just has more rear seat space. I like the styling of the Soul. That being said, the Niro is a slight bit more aerodynamic and is rated for 2 more kilometers of range. I will say that more Niro buyers are reaching that 500 kilometer mark than Soul buyers when I'm talking to them. There have been Soul buyers that reach the 500 kilometer mark. Niro buyers are a little bit more. And again, just depends on what you kind of like. This really blends in. It's not offensive. Nobody knows that it's anything special, but some people really like that as well. You do have roof racks up top here. You have the memory seats in there as well. So you've got some nice features on the Niro. It just kind of depends on which one you like better. The Soul styling to me is more modern, but it is certainly more polarizing. So that's kind of that. There we go. Had an Uber the other day in a Soul, and the inside is bigger than you think. Yeah, the Soul rear seat is really big, and I like the seating position of the Soul. And actually, I had somebody reach out to me on Instagram and say, can you compare the Niro seating to the Soul and to the Kona and to the Seltos? Seltos is a little taller. Kona is a little lower. The Kona feels very much like a car. This feels a little bit like a crossover, as does the Soul. The Soul, my legs kind of come square down. This one, my legs kind of come angled down. The Kona is a little bit more. Now, the Kona still is a crossover, but I would say that the Niro is kind of an in-between kind of thing. You really kind of have to sit in them to see. So I hope that helps you guys a little bit. We've got 38 minutes. I'll really briefly check the questions. I'm not going to show you lighting here. I will tell you it is full LED lighting out front, full LED lighting out back. One oddity is you do still have halogen fog lights. So in the hybrid and lower trim levels, you have these sort of double arrow type things that are your white LED lights. The fog lights here on the EV are halogen still. I don't know why. These would be your signal lights. They're pretty cool in bright LED. And these would be your LED headlights that are very, very good. Out back LED lighting as well, which is kind of nice to have. So they've updated that as well. All right, guys, we have 83 people on. It's your last chance to leave a like. I'll take a couple more questions in the last minute here. We want to finish up by this 40-minute mark for sure. So let me just see. Is there anything I missed? If I missed your question, go ahead and ask it real quick right now. It's going to take a second or two to get to me, so we'll see what we can do. Okay. Had the Soul EV before. I got the Niro EV. Both are excellent vehicles. Yeah, so there we go. We've got someone who's had both. It's hard for me to say which one's better for you. I chose the Soul because I like the look. It is a little bit shorter. Maybe it's easier to park. Both are very easy to drive. And the Soul has the larger rear seat. I'm not sure how big my kids are going to get, so I like that. How much range does it get reduced for night driving? Essentially nothing. The only thing difference with night driving is your headlights are on. LED headlights are very little draw, so I would say there's almost no difference. The biggest thing that's going to cause range loss that you can control is your climate system. The more heat you use, the less range you have, and but the lighting is not a big deal. Are high and low beam headlights both LED? Yes, high and low beams LED. The only light out front that is not LED for whatever reason on the Niro EV is the fog lights. All right, we're gonna leave it there, guys. Got 75 still people on. I'm sorry I'm gonna hang up on you guys. I wanna thank you for the 70 likes. Next week, we got a pretty big week, I think. We're gonna try to put together some cool stuff. And of course, heading into the LA Auto Show in mid-November, we're gonna have a lot of stuff there. I'm expecting a lot more information from Kia and Hyundai to trickle in over the coming weeks and days. So lots to tune into. If you like what we do, hit the like button. If you wanna know more about EVs, EV6, Ioniq 5, anything else, hit the like button. If you made it this far, yeah, hit the like button. I'm going to give you a like. Thank you for watching all this till the end. And we'll talk to you guys again soon. We will see you on Monday. No plans for Monday, so feel free to suggest to me what you want to see. You can reach me on Instagram. It's Peter Kia Hyundai channel. Same logo. You'll see it all. Reach out to me on Instagram. Tell me what you want to see. And if I can, I'll do that for you. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a great weekend.